Hello, welcome to a special in the summertime edition of Aztecs All In. Steve Perez, Weiner here, coming to you from Mission Bay, where the only thing we need now, we've got sunshine, we've got breeze, we've got the water just in view, is a boat. Maybe one of these days we'll be doing Aztecs All In from a boat. But in the meantime, we're doing it overlooking Mission Bay here.
Beautiful day out in Mission Bay, Steve, and people riding their bikes, and we're just hanging out.
And people sending you their little tweets saying, I wish I was at Mission Bay. In the meantime, since it is summertime, living's somewhat easy. It's school is out. There are a few things we want to wrap up here at Aztecs All In, and also keep you up to date on some of the latest goings on. And one of the first things hot off the presses on this particular day is news of the U.S. Olympic team, an Aztec alum, a major champion in the golf world. Lewis?
Yeah, Xander, fresh off his 7th place finish in the U.S. Open, and of course, PGA Championship winner. Xander officially qualified for the 2024 Olympic Games. He will represent the U.S. in the Olympic Games in Paris, along with Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa. Schauffele is one of 60 men's golfers who will compete in the 72-hole stroke play format August 1st through 4th at Le Golf National, Steve.
Of course, he is the defending champion. He holds that gold medal. He's been defending that and being actually, one of those rare individuals, since the Olympics only do come around every 4 years. That earns him a place somewhere in the elite golf pantheon in my book. As a gold medalist in the U.S. Olympics, making some key putts down the stretch in Japan to take home the gold, and also just in general, just representing San Diego State Aztecs and Aztecs Athletics, and his buddy on the bag as also as well making the appearance. And that'll be just great news for the Aztecs in general.
Yeah, okay, can you name the golfer that Xander defeated in Tokyo? He finished one stroke ahead of a golfer. He carded an 18 under par 266, and he finished one stroke ahead of Slovakia's
No, I don't do trivia. What is it? Come on.
Rory Sabatini.
Rory. Yeah. How could you forget the guy who came in second and won the silver? Good for Rory too. That's good playing.
Yeah, and Xander performed well in the U.S. Open, Steve. Finished 7th. What do you think about his?
Well, first of all, my two thoughts watching the golf, which was, that's U.S. Golf's national championship, and it is an egalitarian field because anyone can qualify, anyone can throw in their bucks and pretend that they have what it takes and qualify all throughout the country. So it truly is the national championship of golf in the United States. That's the first thing, and Bryson DeChambeau hammered the ball all over the yard, ended up winning that. And remember, Lewis, as the second place finisher, remember who finished second in the PGA Championship? Yeah. No, it wasn't Rory Sabatini, it was Bryson DeChambeau, who's waiting on the practice tee in the event Xander Schauffele did not birdie that final hole. He needed birdie, and if he had missed that, who knows what had happened, because Bryson DeChambeau's got game.
Yeah, he performed fantastically, especially that bunker shot on the 18 where he up and down for the win. Right. So congratulations to him, and Xander will have other opportunities in the majors, and hopefully will be successful in the future.
Meantime, Bryson D is not eligible for the U.S. Olympics team, Lewis, since he left in favor of the LIV Tour. So that means he accumulates no world golf points. And who knows, he might have bumped someone off that team if he had qualified, because he clearly is a hot golfer at this point. So the other thing I recall about the U.S. Open is just the moving day on Saturday, and where pars are at a premium, it's nice to go low if you can, and DeChambeau did at the very end, is making those putts to save par. The second place finisher, Rory McIlroy, did not. And on moving day, I remember watching Xander on the first two holes having opportunities to save par, and instead racking up some birdies, some birdies. So it's the exact opposite of birdies, actually. Bogeys, missing putts, and generally just not being able to keep pace on the weekend. But that is U.S. Open golf, as ridiculous sometimes as it appears when you see golf balls landing on the green and then rolling off. And that's just U.S. Open golf.
Yeah, Xander was 2 under in the final round. Obviously not enough. He was, I think, 5 strokes back at the start of the round and was never really able to compete. But as you said, top 10 finish, Steve, and, he's got a great future ahead of him.
Yeah. So is that enough golf and Xander Schauffele? Can we move on?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move.
Okay, let's put a bow on our coverage of the Aztec women's track and field appearances in the NCAA Nationals in Oregon. We featured Aztec Kathleen Jenner for Fibon in a episode pre-event. Did I pronounce her name? Jenna. For Firebon. In a recent episode, it's a pre-event interview. She finished in the top 10 in the Nationals. She came in 9th overall in the heptathlon, best by an Aztec at the NCAA Championships in 10 years, and moving up in her Aztec all-time rankings. Her best event was the javelin, when she tossed it more than 41 meters on her second try and earned a 7th place finish in that event. She closed out her outdoor season running the 800 meters, roughly half a mile or 2 laps around the track. What's your personal best in the 800 meters, Lewis?
I forgot to time it the last time.
Well, I know you're a fan of trivia. I bet you Rory Sabatini could run faster than you. Jenna ran hers in 2 minutes, 16.38 seconds. That's a personal best for her. As for other Aztec notables from the final day, Zimara Young, 21st in the triple jump, totaling 12.7 meters or 41 feet 8 inches at her best. Close the season brings Aztec women honors for the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Association. But Firebon made second-team All-American, along with Young. Other Aztecs earning second-team mentions from the USTFCCA include the aforementioned Young, G. Mabai, Jada Pierre, Hannah Waller. And with Young, Waller, Pierre, and Mabai ran the 4x100 meters relay. They placed 22nd overall. Wrapping up Aztec women's track and field honors for the season is Shekinah Foote, who finished 17th in the 400-meter dash. He posted a time of 52.10 seconds, fastest time program history for the NCAA championship meet. You want to let that last number sink in? Get out your stopwatch, Lewis, and sprint for 52 seconds straight, almost a minute. We're going to do that at the conclusion of this podcast, Lewis, and see how far you make it around the track.
Yeah, they're setting it up right now.
Hey, there's plenty of open space right here in front of us. We can do it. Do you accept the challenge? We'll report back in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe. By the way, congratulations, track and field. The Aztec Spring Sports, golf went to the NCAA tournament, women's tennis to the NCAA tournament, women's softball to the NCAA tournament. So a successful spring for those sports that don't get a lot of publicity.
Right. And we're kind of looking ahead now to the schedules for the Aztecs. The men's soccer team has released its schedule, and they will compete now since the function of the so-called Conference of Champions, the Pac-12. They will now compete in the Western Athletic Conference, Lewis. They're going to compete in the WAC. And that schedule has been released earlier this week. Ryan Hopkins. It's a 18-match slate. There will be 6 matches against teams that made the NCAA tournament last time around. And this, of course, is their first season now in the WAC. It's in recent years. You have to look that up to find out when it was the last time they competed in the WAC. Oh, here it is in front of me. What do you know? From 1996 to 98 they competed. They are going to have a couple of hometown games. First against UC San Diego on the 14th of August. They're going to go up the coast to UC Santa Barbara on the 17th. The season will get underway August 23rd for real. On the 23rd, they shut out the Highlanders 2-0 last year. They're 8-3-2 all time against UCR. They will play at San Diego against the Toreros. The Toreros made the tournament, and they have made that each of the last 2 seasons. They're coming off of a campaign that saw them 5-1-1 in their conference, 11-4-4 overall. There was a big game at Snapdragon Stadium between those two teams when they played to a 1-1 tie in front of 3,600 fans at the Snapdragon.
There you go. Everything you need to know right there.
Love soccer. Love it. Another sport that really challenges you physically. I mean, that requires running up and down a field for a very long time. So after we have the challenge, Lewis, in the track event,
yeah,
we're going to play a single one-on-one match in front of an open field.
Well, soccer. Extremely, very popular now, especially San Diego FC getting set to play in the MSL beginning next year. And of course, the Wave, extremely popular at Snapdragon Stadium. So, the men's soccer team, hopefully you can get people out there to root them on once the season starts. And of course, we are looking ahead to, Steve, what are we looking for? Aztec Fast.
That's right. That's coming up.
It is coming up.
What are we talking about as far as football? Week 0, right?
Week 0 against Texas San Antonio.
Is it San Antonio or A&M Commerce?
Well, maybe it's Commerce. I think you're right. Texas A&M Commerce.
Either way, that game time is still TBA.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That'll probably be a 4 or 5 o'clock.
Saturday, August 31st.
I don't think they're kicking it off at noon. But there is some Aztec football to talk about. Preseason accolades coming San Diego State's way. A couple of publications. The Phil Steele publication named 7 Aztecs to their all Mountain West / Pac-2 teams. Remember, Washington State and Oregon State will be playing all of the Mountain West teams this year, although those games will not count in the conference when the Mountain West teams play. But still, so Tupo Alalu, Joseph Bourgeon, Owen Chambliss, Marquez Cooper, Chris Johnson, Jashawn Polk, Makai Shaw, and Ryan Wintermeyer, all named among the league representatives there. And Marquez Cooper is the guy I'm looking forward to see, Steve. He is a transfer. He played 1 year at Ball State and 3 years at Kent State under Sean Lewis. He is the FBS active rushing leader, and he's registered 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons. So he knows Sean Lewis's offense, and he can come up and running. Show him what he could do in Sean Lewis's offense.
In an offensive scheme like the one Lewis and the Aztec Fast purports to operate on, I would imagine a lot of offensive players, if you are productive, you will get a lot of touches because of the pace of that play. It will require numerous players to rotate in and out and see what they can do. So I think that the more you perform, the better your stamina, and the more the Aztecs are able to hold on to that football as opposed to, say, doing a 3 and out and having to defend in the meantime. That's great news for those who love to see offensive football. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Also, I mean, you mentioned these two teams, Washington State and Oregon State. Last year at this time, we were talking process, which you know how much I love doing. The Pac-12, we should mention, has a limited time frame now to kind of reorganize these two teams to see what happens. So we'll be keeping an eye on that process because there's a couple of deadlines that they kind of have to be mindful of, and the sooner they set that lineup, the better, and their best potential for expansion, assuming they don't somehow figure a way to wangle their way into these remaining Power 4 conferences, is to see what they can do with some teams in the Mountain West. So, sometime by the summer of 2025, they're probably going to have to figure all of that part of it out to see what their strategy is going forward for these so-called Pac-2 schools. So.
Yeah, I don't think they want all of the Mountain West teams in their new version of the Pac-12, but there are monetary situations where if they don't bring all the Mountain West teams with them, then those teams left out will need to be paid, right? They'll need some money, and these two teams now, the former Pac-12, they've got all this money in the coffers to use for those situations if need be. So be interesting to see where they want to be and who they want to bring along with them. And I would have to believe San Diego State would be one of those teams. But of course, we thought a year ago they'd be going into a Pac-12 that no longer exists. So what do we know?
Well, in the meantime, more, what do you call them? I think in the financial press, it would call them, if they were doing laudatory stories on these forward-looking CEOs, they'd call them innovations. One of the innovations that's being looked at in one of the conferences is the Big 12, which is losing two of its big two names, and they're considering awarding naming rights to a title sponsor. Yahoo reporting that Allstate
the All-State 12,
yeah. So it could be the All-State 12, which, it's all about the Benjamins. It could generate millions of dollars in revenue, and there's also talk that the Big 12 is looking at some private equity company that may purchase, say, 10% of the league. So these are big financial moves. Money talks. It could be something that could work out very well, and I'm sure that all these other conferences, including the Mountain West, even though they're probably not talking about it, are looking at similar opportunities if there are there. Of course, there are certain schools that are more funded and have more illustrious, deep-pocketed alumni than some of those in the Mountain West. So you got to give some of those teams the upper hand. And the other thing that's happening is apparently the NFL sort of encroaching on college football schedule because of the expansion of the college football playoffs, right?
Yeah, so usually late in the NFL season, the NFL plays Saturday games because the college season is over. But this year, a couple of the playoff games will be on opposite NFL. And the NFL said, hey, we're not going to pull away from playing Saturday. So that good point is you have to believe the NFL may win out on that ratings battle depending on the college football matchups, right?
Right. In the meantime, both the NFL and these top teams in the NCAA are more appearing like each other with this settlement that's been reached in this groundbreaking lawsuit that basically will figure out a way for the schools to come above ground and actually start sharing the revenue with their players by actually paying them. And that will change the financial dynamic in the coming years, and we will have to see how that shakes out, because it really does leave a lot more fluidity amongst the players being able to move, also with the transfer rules from team to team, to the highest bidder, to wherever they see the most opportunity coming their way.
And does that affect just Power 5 teams, the back pay, or is it all college teams? That's where I was a little not too sure.
I mean, it's a federal lawsuit, so theoretically all the teams must or are able to. I'm kind of thinking that there may not be all that many dollars, at least amongst all the California schools that are tied to the UC and the California state system, like San Diego State, since California is running pretty massive multi-billion-dollar deficit, and so they don't have a lot of extra money to throw around. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I would love to be privy to some of those backroom financial discussions they're probably having at some of these universities, including San Diego State. But in the meantime, they're not telling anything to anybody but those parties that are affected. And I'm sure they are having to account for every penny.
Yeah, and that's a good transition, Steve, for our final little bit of information here. San Diego State basketball team, of course, still a few months off, but they will be playing and apparently paid $1 million to take part in the Players Era Festival scheduled for Thanksgiving week in Las Vegas. That was officially announced after months of speculation, and they're actually going to be grouped with 3 other teams. It's going to be 8 teams, but 4 will play in one group, 4 will play in another. So San Diego State is grouped with Oregon, Creighton, and Texas A&M, and apparently their first game will be against Texas A&M, and that would be Thanksgiving week. So that'll be a 3 games round-robin format instead of the traditional bracketed tournament. So they will play each of those 3 teams. So as far as preseason schedule, it just got a lot more difficult for San Diego State.
Which is good for them as far as RPI, and also good for them as far as visibility, because it's that time of year when folks have time off from work and there are more eyeballs on television, and that means that's the reason why you see all these different college basketball tournaments all around.
Well, you see Lamont Butler leave for Kentucky for big bucks, and if San Diego State gets $1 million, and if they win this tournament and they can get another $1 million, that will definitely help. Not that Butler would have stayed anyway. I'm not so sure that was in his plans, but the more money being able to offer, that they could compete with the Kentuckys.
Right. So the college basketball season being some time off, and some interesting personnel coming in and out of that program, and will be very interesting to see how they end up and see how they fare in that tournament at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think that does it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some turkey tacos, maybe on a boat.
Yeah,
far away from here. We'll see.
Well, that will do it for this summertime edition of Aztecs All In. Thanks so much for listening. Please follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also reach us at aztecsallin@gmail.com, or follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. For Steve Perez,
all right, I'm
getting
that stopwatch out. Here we go after this.
All right, we'll update you on that. I'm Louis Weiner for Steve Perez. We'll talk to you next time.